Southeast Queenslanders face a chaotic start to the week, with floods expected to worsen, more than 1,000 roads cut off, trains shut down, schools and many businesses closed, and hundreds of residents sheltering in evacuation centres. Key points: flooding is likely to worsen today, especially in Brisbane and Maryborough. Flooding is likely to worsen today, especially in Brisbane and Maryborough. Authorities have shut schools, trains, and many roads, and urge Queenslanders to stay home. Authorities have shut schools, trains, and many roads, and urge Queenslanders to stay home. Disaster payments will open today for some residents in the Gympie and North Burnett areas. The rain bomb, responsible for the weekend's record-breaking inundation, which has killed 6 people, is predicted to move slowly south today and lash both sides of the New South Wales-Queensland border. The wild weather has already left widespread damage and flooding in its wake, and will continue to affect thousands of residents for days. As at 2:15 a.m. this morning, the Wivenhoe Dam was sitting at more than 185% capacity, and more than 100 millimetres has been recorded in parts of the Gold Coast. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk said no one had expected this rain bomb to be sitting over the southeast of the state for such a long period of time. "Let me be very clear about this. This is like an unpredictable cyclone, and it is at levels that we have never expected or could never have been forecast," she said. "Everybody is doing a whole lot of extra planning on top of what has already been planned." The state government said nearly 1,000 schools will be closed today and urged Queenslanders to work from home. Almost 1,000 people were sheltering in evacuation centres late yesterday, with more expected to join them, especially in the Maryborough region. Brisbane River hits major flood levels. More than 1,400 Brisbane homes in riverside areas, such as Rockley, are believed to have been flooded. AAP, Jason O'Brien. State Disaster Coordinator Steve Golszewski declared Gympie and Brisbane disaster zones, saying conditions in the capital were extremely dangerous. He said Brisbane faced flash flooding, multiple road closures, landslides, its rail network was down, and rivers and creeks were flooded. The Brisbane River is expected to rise to up to 4 metres at high tide about 8:30 a.m. The rising Brisbane River is tipped to reach a height of 4 metres at high tide, about 8:30 a.m. Jenna Jenkins. Authorities have already described it as a major flood, though below the city's 2011 peak of 4.46 m. More than 1,400 Brisbane households are believed to have been flooded already. Mr. Golszewski said people needed to be very aware of the high tides. "There are 2 high tides every day, so we are planning around those tides," he said. Threat to remain for days. Mr. Golszewski also said Maryborough, about 220 kilometres north of Brisbane, would be monitored closely overnight. Rising floodwaters in the small town are expected to force residents to leave their homes today. M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. Watch 5 minutes 20 seconds 5m. Flood levee is erected in Maryborough for the second time this year. ABC, Lucy Loram. The Logan and Beaudesert regions were also likely to be under threat as the rain system drifts south. The Bureau of Meteorology, BOM, is predicting the river will pass the 2017 level of 20.5 metres this morning at the Maclean Bridge gauge, making it the largest flood recorded since 1974, when it reached 21.22 metres. The Braemar River, near the Ipswich CBD, is also forecast to rise this morning. Tobias Jers Lewis. In Ipswich, Goodna was the worst affected area, with some residents in low-lying parts of Booville and Bundamba told to prepare to evacuate. Across the state's southeast, more than 36,000 households have lost power. Although the weather system is expected to move south today, showers and storms could persist for days. Senior BOM forecaster Jackson Brown said yesterday the focus of the rainfall will shift to northern NSW today. Most of the weather by Monday should be around the border area, he said. It won't stop raining in Brisbane. There are still going to be a couple of days of showers and storms, but nothing like the intense rain that had been happening. Disaster payments for Gympie, North Burnett. M to mute, left and right arrows to seek, up and down arrows for volume. Watch 1 minute 1 second 1 minute, and 1 second Gympie inundated with floodwater. Bernie Thomas. In Brisbane yesterday, Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Emergency Management Minister Bridget McKenzie said some affected residents in the Gympie and North Burnett regions would receive disaster relief payments. The financial aid is likely to be expanded soon to other badly impacted areas. Properties in Gympie are being inundated by floodwater. Jan Pratt. Senator McKenzie said the disaster payments would include $1,000 per person and $400 per child. Applications will open at 1 p.m. today. Senator McKenzie said disaster victims could also claim an extra hardship grant of $180 per person, up to $900 per family.